There's a quiet pain many men carry, often invisible, rarely spoken of, and frequently misunderstood. It's not anger in the loud, aggressive sense. It's more like a low-burning ache, a feeling of being undervalued, overlooked, or even replaced. And at the heart of this quiet struggle is a term that has sparked countless debates and emotions: hypergamy, the idea that women tend to seek partners who are equal to or above them in status, success, or social standing. Now, let's be clear, hypergamy isn't a dirty word. It's not an accusation or a weapon to use against women. It's simply a pattern of human behavior that's been observed across cultures and eras. But when paired with modern dating dynamics, where both men and women are more independent, more empowered, and more selective than ever before, something shifts. And for some men, this shift creates a sense of resentment, one that's often hard to express without sounding bitter, judgmental, or insecure. But what if that resentment isn't just jealousy or bruised ego? What if it's something deeper, something tied to identity, value, and a longing to be needed? Let's go there today. Let's have the conversation most are too afraid to have. Because this isn't just about dating, it's about dignity, it's about connection. And for many men, it's about healing a part of themselves they didn't even know was hurting. 1. Understanding hypergamy, what it is and what it's not to begin, let's demystify the concept of hypergamy. Hypergamy is often simplified as women marry up, but that's a surface-level view. At its core, hypergamy is about security, emotional, financial, and social. It's an ancient survival mechanism embedded in human psychology. In earlier times, this made sense. A woman's survival, especially when raising children, was closely tied to the resources and protection a partner could provide. In those eras, a woman aligning herself with a man of higher status wasn't gold-digging, it was life-preserving. But fast forward to today, and things are different. Women can earn their own money, they can build their own careers, they can live independently. So then, why does hypergamy still show up? Why does it still hurt some men? Because even in a modern world, where equality is the goal, our emotional programming hasn't changed quite as quickly. Some women may still feel drawn to men who signal strength, leadership, confidence, or financial security, not because they're shallow, but because these traits offer a kind of emotional anchor in an uncertain world. It's not about greed, it's about gravitating towards safety and strength. 2. When men feel rejected by hypergamy. Here's where things get complicated. Many good, honest, hard-working men feel pushed aside in today's dating landscape. Not because they lack value, but because their value is no longer being seen in the same way. He may not have a six-figure income, he may not own a luxury home or drive a sports car, but he has integrity, he has wisdom, he's loyal. And yet, again and again, he sees women choosing someone flashier, younger, more charismatic, or someone who fits a certain status mold. That's where the resentment starts to grow. Not because men hate women, not because they think women owe them affection, but because they feel invisible. They feel like who they are isn't enough anymore. They start to internalize a painful message. Unless I can offer more, I won't be chosen. And for many older men, especially those who've been through divorces, job losses, or financial hardship, this stings in a very personal way. 3. The evolution of male identity and the loss of traditional roles. For generations, a man's identity was tied to his role as a provider. He worked hard, he brought home the income, he protected his family. But as women became more self-sufficient, and rightly so, men were left wondering, what am I supposed to offer now? That question can turn into an identity crisis, especially if a man is no longer the main earner, or if he's retired, downsized, or trying to rebuild his life after a loss. Without a clear role, some men begin to doubt their worth. And when they see women pursuing younger, more successful or more powerful men, it reinforces a painful belief: I've been replaced. 4. Resentment isn't always rage. Sometimes it's grief. We often think of resentment as anger, but beneath that anger is something softer, something more raw: grief. Men don't always have the emotional permission to grieve openly. They're told to man up, to move on, to not take things personally. But how can you not take it personally when the dating world seems to reward flash over substance? When you offer depth, wisdom, and loyalty, and it's still not enough? Resentment, in many cases, is grief unspoken. It's the ache of being passed over. It's the pain of realizing that society, and sometimes even the women they love, don't see them the way they used to. The social media trap: comparing lives and losing confidence. Let's not ignore the role of social media in all this. Platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok have created an endless comparison machine. Men see influencers with luxury lifestyles and women praising high-earning, high-status partners. It creates a false standard, one that's impossible to meet for most everyday men. And here's the tragic irony: some of the best men, gentle, grounded, emotionally available, are losing confidence simply because they can't compete in a status-obsessed digital world. This loss of confidence fuels even more resentment, and the spiral deepens. 6. Not all women are hypergamous, but the fear persists. Now, let's be fair and honest. Not all women choose partners based on status. Many seek emotional connection, shared values, and long-term compatibility. But when a man has been rejected enough times, or sees his peers passed over, he begins to fear that all women think this way. It becomes a defensive mindset. If I'm not rich or powerful, I'll never be enough. This belief isn't just painful, it's dangerous, because it shuts men off from vulnerability, it makes them cynical, and it poisons their chances of finding genuine love. 7. Breaking the cycle, healing the male heart. So what can be done? First, we need to let men grieve. Yes, grieve. Grieve the loss of traditional roles, grieve the rejections, grieve the feeling of being unwanted or unseen. But grieving isn't weakness, it's healing. Second, we must help men reclaim their value. Your worth is not defined by your bank account. It's defined by your presence, your integrity, your consistency. If a woman overlooks you because you're not flashy enough, that doesn't mean you're inadequate. It means she wasn't your match. Third, we need to stop shaming men for expressing pain. Male resentment doesn't come from hatred, it comes from heartbreak. It comes from feeling replaceable in a world that used to honor their role. 8. A message to women: why this matters. To the women watching, this is not an attack on your choices. You deserve love. You deserve happiness. You have every right to choose a partner who inspires you. But also know this: there are men who would give you the world if only you saw them. Men who aren't loud. Men who don't shine on social media. Men who may not wow you on a first date, but would never betray you, abandon you, or play games with your heart. These men are everywhere, and many of them are hurting in silence. 9. Moving forward, a new vision of connection. If we want better relationships, especially later in life, we need new conversations. We need to move beyond outdated gender roles and shallow expectations. We need to stop judging each other by status and start valuing presence, depth, and emotional maturity. Because in the end, status fades, looks fade, but connection, kindness, loyalty, that's forever. Let's create a space where men can be vulnerable without shame, where women can be safe without apology, where love is about mutual respect, not transactional exchange. Let's write a new story, one where no one feels resentful because no one feels invisible. Closing scene, slow fade into images of older couples smiling, holding hands, laughing together. Narrator, Rachel Miller. Resentment thrives in silence. But when we speak the truth with compassion, healing begins. So to the men feeling overlooked, you are not broken. And to the women trying to find something real, maybe that realness has been beside you all along. You just had to see it differently. Thanks for watching. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, love doesn't retire, it just evolves.